Hey, Tom here. It's 10:31, Halloween, and I just realized probably should do the subject on 1031s on 1031, but it doesn't matter. I already talked enough about that this week since I've been in a 1031 for the last about 60 days. Anyways, I was going to talk about not, I always say never give up, and it served me well by never giving up and always persevering. And even like I just sent out probably 250 letters, uh, what you would call, I don't know what you guys call them today, but you're fishing for somebody that wants to sell. So you send letters, or a card. I used to always send letters, was my most effective thing that I did. And then people started getting cheaper and sending more like postcards, that sort of thing. I don't know how I feel about that. Uh, I assume it might be working for some people better than others. Uh, but even though I sent out 250 letters and I haven't had anything come back, one thing I always do is I let people know, if hey, hang on to this, and if you ever change your mind, give me a call later. And that has happened very well. I mean, that's worked very well for me in the past, because I've had letters that I've sent out and said, hey, you want to sell, and if you ever do, please call me back. And then at one point or another, they call me. I had one in particular, guy called me, and he wasn't all that interested, but he called me still. We chatted a little bit. He liked me, just from the conversation we had. We had a good conversation, and uh, and I called him like, I don't know, a month or two later, and he says, no, I'm really not that interested. And then I get a call back about 2 weeks later, and I think I recognized the number if I remember correctly, and I was like, oh wow, he's calling me back. Well, I answered the phone, and it's his wife. He's dead. And she said, hey, I know you talked to my husband. And she goes, I want to sell this property. Uh, she said she'd already talked to, some people, and they had an offer or two. And she said, this is what I want. And I could make it work. I actually had somebody else I could resell it to and make a little profit on. And we made a deal, and I bought it, and I flipped it, and I made a little bit of money. And so, but that was only because I sent the letter out, and then I persevered and continued to talk and stay in touch. And even though this guy died for whatever reason, I stayed in his file, and his wife knew enough that she called me. And so you got to go that extra mile if you want to get every opportunity that's available to you. And that means knocking on that door, even though it looks like nobody's home, or it looks like the lights are dim and they don't want to be disturbed. Uh, it's making that phone call after 5 when some guy's probably playing with his kids and he doesn't want to be disturbed. That's part of it. I hate to tell you, but that's part of it. And, uh, there is the best time to call anybody, at least anybody that's working in general, is you're going to have to call after 5. And you know what? That's usually at happy hour when you would rather be, having a beer. But that's what you got to do to get ahead. And the younger you are, the sooner you better start. And even if you're 40, 50 and you kind of let life go by and you haven't really planned very well, there's a lot of people like that. Uh, it's not too late. It's not too late, because you can make such a difference in such a short amount of time in your life. And that's what I love about real estate and investing and looking for deals is, I don't know if I'm going to make, I mean, I know if I'm going to make a deal, I'm going to make at least $10,000, $20,000, because I won't screw around with anything else now. But when I was younger, I'd flip a deal and make 5 grand. But my point is that's kind of let's see. One term I like to use is, if you don't buy a ticket, you can't win the lottery, right? Now, I don't actually play the lottery, rarely. Uh, but my point is, if you don't make the phone call, you're not going to get a call back, or you're not going to make a connection. If you don't send the letter, even though I just sent out 250 letters, took some time I mean, I had people do it. I had to pay them. I used to do that stuff myself. But I mean, I had that done, made sure it went out, and always proof your stuff, by the way. I proofed mine, and I go, whoa, 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 there was a mistake. They had the wrong phone number on there, off by one digit. And so be sure to watch your stuff carefully. Anyhow, those letters went out, nothing came back. But my point is like from past experience, it doesn't matter. If the letter was attractive enough, or the postcard was attractive enough that they held on to it, and you let them know, hey, I might be interested in the future, so hang on. Then when you get that call later on, you might make a deal. And like I was just describing, I made a deal with somebody, with his wife after he died, and it was only because I made it in the file and she remembered me. But like I said, and I was kind of getting into before we got disconnected, is um, like I say, sometimes you make 10 grand, 20 grand, that's the beauty of the real estate investing, and being in business for yourself in general, is sometimes you hit a home run, sometimes you hit a grand slam, sometimes you make $1 million, sometimes you make $500,000, or, even 100 grand. If you make 100 grand, I mean, that's a lot of money to make especially if you do it in a few weeks. You know, uh, One deal I made, and it was very much, again, persistence. I ended up making, golly, what did I make? I made about, well, on paper and cash, I made over $300,000. But in the end, I had a note. I had a note for $295,000, and that guy paid me interest only at, what was it? God, it must have been 10%. Yeah, it was 10%. Interest only 10% on 295. It was $2,450 a month, as I remember. Uh, Anyways, that was the payment, and it was interest only. I don't remember the exact interest rate. Can't think straight. Haven't had enough coffee this morning. But don't be afraid to try. You got to understand, everybody's different. Everybody develops their own style. It's just like when you're talking to people, it doesn't matter if you are a country bumpkin or sound like one, or you may be, you might have some heavy accent from wherever the hell you're from, or something, or it doesn't matter. When you talk and you're sincere, that comes through. And it doesn't matter uh, who you are. It just doesn't matter. And or how well you deliver or talk. As long as you get somebody listening and you let them know that you're interested, and you don't insult them. It's always a good thing when you're talking to somebody, when you're trying to buy their property. Don't ever forget this. Don't tear the property up. Don't tear it down. It's insulting to the person that owns the property when you sit there and pick it apart. Now, there is a time for that, a little bit, but you don't sit there and it's insulting to them. And now you're coming and say, hey, I'd like to buy it, but it's a piece of shit. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And so what you're better off doing is uh, acknowledge the things that are nice, are obviously nice about the property. And if you start having to haggle over price and they want more than you want to pay, then tactfully get to why, say, well, how am I supposed to, how does this pencil for you? How do you justify this price? How did you get there? You know what I mean? And then they start doing the math, and you start working it, and then pretty soon it'll work for you a lot better than just simply insulting them by saying, well, he needs this and needs this. But there is a little bit of disrepair on properties. You gotta and actually I'm working on a deal right now, a pretty good sized building, and the building it's a pretty big building. It's got a second floor, and the way I put it, I'm dealing through an agent on this, is I said, look, I consider that whole top floor an attic, and I kind of do, because even though it's perfect for office and etc., there isn't enough parking, really, not quite enough parking to facilitate the entire building. So it's just, I got to be painfully honest to him and to myself, because as much as I love the building, the reality is there ain't no parking here. Now, what's cool about it is it's a daycare place, and it's on the going to work side of the road. You guys all know I prefer the going home side of the road. Now, that's not exclusive. In fact, I'm about to drive by several properties right now that are mine, and one of them is a school, and another one is just a big manufacturing company, multiple businesses. There's a carpet store in there, a couple other things. But right now, I'm going by one of these schools that I own. I own the property, not the school. Anyways, so on the going to work side of the road, a coffee shop is great. A school, private school is awesome. Daycare is awesome because you're dropping your kids off on the way to work. So, but 80%, in my opinion, at least especially when you get into a town that's getting thinner, not as populated as the going to work side of the road is not going to be nearly as good as the going home side of the road. On the going home side of the road, they got time to stop off and have a beer. They got time to stop off and, whatever, do grocery shopping, pick up whatever you pick up or, do on the way home. Uh, the other thing is on the going to work side, again, breakfast, but if you have a more populated area, then you kind of get to a point where either side is good. And because it's going to be, frequented by traffic going both ways. Uh, but and you'll see more and more models. You'll see it like right now. You're seeing more and more where they build they're putting apartments directly over retail. That's kind of how they do it all over Taiwan. If you're Taiwan and China, you drive down, see like a motorcycle shop like about every half mile, and a little every half mile. It's because people like to walk downstairs, buy groceries, fix their tuk-tuks, motorbikes over there. That's what they sound like, tuk-tuk toys. Uh, so it's very interesting design when you're driving down the road. Deja vu. Every mile or two, you're seeing the same shops. You're seeing everything the same, looks the same. But there's houses, but apartments above these small businesses, and they don't have the big grocery stores. I've seen them in China, but not so much in Taiwan. So people just, like I say, run down. They probably have a much more simpler diet, and don't have the diversity that a lot of us have here in the USA. But that works. But what I was getting to is that more and more we're seeing stores and apart. The reason for that is I was talking about the going home side of the road and the going to work side of the road. Well, because they would always zone things like, hey, this is the commercial area, this is the retail zone, this is where all the cars are at. It becomes everything you got to drive to. And then when you come back, then you have all this congestion going to where everybody works or where everybody manufactures. Where if they spread it out more, and like I said, put stores underneath the retail, works because you can walk downstairs and go to work, or you can walk a half mile and go to work. In other words, everybody's not driving into the same zone area. So they're starting to do more and more, which we call MU, multi-use. In fact, I've rezoned a few properties, and they're what you call MU, multi allows a combination of residential and retail, and office and that sort of thing. And that's one of the reasons, or that's the theory behind a lot of this thinking is that it'll alleviate traffic because people won't have to drive across town to go to the same place from everywhere. They'll just go very close. Obviously, airplane manufacturer, everybody's going to be driving to the plant, or whatever the big facility is. That's going to happen anywhere. But anyways, I just wanted to check in. I don't know if anybody's got any questions but Halloween, everybody be safe. I'm up early. I'm actually working on my kids' costumes. I was a doctor at a party I went to the other day, and the outfit was a little bit tight. So I told my son, "Hey, wear the thing I wore the other day." So it's actually Halloween tonight. And he's got a party to go to. So, anyways, and I got a daughter turning 21 on the first. She's a New Year's baby, and of course she wants to have a party at the house with her and her friends, which I'm not super crazy about, but I don't want her partying anywhere else. So of course it's going to happen. Uh, but anyways, just never give up. Always persist. Knock on that door, write that letter, go shake somebody's hand, talk to people, talk to realtors. Even if you don't know anything at this point in time, you get your education by getting to know people that are in your immediate area. Especially realtors. Talk to realtors. I always talk about the 80-20 rule. I use it all the time, it's not a new thought process, but basically, 80% of the people uh, uh, do about 20% of the things that can be done, and the other 20% do 80% of everything that can be done. And that's why there's a top 20% that make a hell of a lot more than the other 80%. And then if you take that 20%, there's another 80-20 rule on top of that 20%. And basically, then you got basically uh, the top 20% of that 20% that make more things happen, make more money, and what some people would call the two percenters, depending on your affiliation with politics. But the bottom line is, most people don't hustle. Most people don't work hard, and the beauty in that is, if you are willing to work hard, is you don't have that much competition. It's really not that hard. Most people are too damn lazy to, get up and do stuff and make things happen, or they just don't know. They just don't know, and I understand that too. And I'm trying to enlighten those guys that are like me. That heck, if it wasn't for real estate, I probably wouldn't be a millionaire. I mean, I've made money in other places too, but my big money has been in real estate. It always has been. I've had some pretty good home runs in business too, but they're kind of related. I've I've financed some of the business projects I've done with profits from real estate, and likewise, when I've turned business ventures into pretty profitable deals, I've just for at times I've raked in some pretty good income and bought a hell of a lot more real estate. What do you got there? Let me see. You right about that. Oh yeah. Well, it's just the truth. You got to hustle, man. You got to hustle. And like right now, it's kind of cool. I've got these. You see my food park. I got a food trailer park going. And actually, I got a video coming out. I had a girl that just quit me recently, and real nice, and she's still going to do some work for me. But anyways, the last video she just finished, I haven't even watched it yet or gone through it, but it's 40 minutes, I think, and I'll put that out maybe today. Actually, I will put it out today. I'll put it out in a little bit, but it just kind of, I think it's called A Week in the Life or something, or A Day in Life, I don't know, but it was, just basically a week in the life, what's going on. But it covers a lot of stuff that I'm doing. You kind of see how busy I am. Uh, you know, I bought two lots, a house, a boat dock, boat slip, did a 1031. I still have a little bit more money to burn. I have one more building. I've got a couple buildings I'm negotiating on, but there's one that's one of my designated properties within the 1031. Anyways, watch it. I think you'll enjoy it. Like I say, with me, I'm just, it's such a shitty production. It's because I just basically take you on the road with me, and I don't worry about, a lot of flash, obviously. So I just gave you a talk in the dark. So, anyways, please share, subscribe, like. That's always appreciated, and I appreciate good questions. Please don't ask me to explain something that a lot of people watch the video the first time, and then they start asking questions like, how do you find a deal? Well, come on, watch the videos and you'll learn how to find a deal. Or how do you do this? It's like, well, just keep watching the videos, because uh, just know this: finding the money is easy, finding the deal is the tough part, right? And that's the beauty. That's what makes you equal to me. If you're broke, it doesn't really matter if I got a lot more money than you, or when I'm out there, if somebody's got a hell of a lot more money than me, it doesn't matter. We both don't have the deal. And that's what we all have the ability to do, is go find a deal, make a deal, tie it up, then go find the money. If you ain't got enough money to buy the deal you got, you'll find somebody that's wealthy in your town. Go talk to your old boss. That's what I used to do. I'd go talk to my previous employer and say, hey, I found something. Or just go, it's obvious who's got money in your town. Look at the guy that owns a big gas station. Look at the guy that owns a lumber yard. Look at the guy that owns whatever, and then just get to the top. And there's somebody with money. And so you don't have to even know them. Just go introduce yourself. And it's not a bad idea to go introduce yourself to people that do have money, because a lot of times they'll remember you. If you're a young guy and you're smart and you're hustling, or a girl, doesn't matter. Uh, you talk to the right people and they'll think of you. And like I say, one of my part, I don't have very many partners. I think I've had two ever, but a good buddy of mine and somebody I've made, a couple $1 million for sure. He passed away recently, and now I'm actually his partners with his kids, but it's because they inherited his wealth. But he he we ran into each other because I was trying to buy his property. I kept trying to talk him out of his property, but we struck up. We were very good talking to each other, and we liked each other. And he just finally concluded. He said, "I'm going to meet you next time I come out your way." And we came out. We met. We had lunch, and he said, "Tom, I'm not going to sell you my property." He goes, "But if you ever need a partner," he goes, "I will partner with you." And that was a big compliment coming from him because he really wasn't interested in partnering with anybody else. And when I had an opportunity, I said, "Man, look, I got a property I'm about to pay cash for. I really need a little reserve I want to keep in the bank." And I said, "So if you want to be a 1/3 partner, send me 1/3 of the money." It was a cash deal, 210. And he said, "Okay." And he cut me a check and sent me a check for $70,000. Didn't even ask for any paperwork or anything else. He trusted me that much. And this is somebody I met over the phone and one lunch with. And he'd since become a very, very good, dear friend. And he passed away about a year ago. Really, really smart guy. Les was his name. And anyways, so Les and I became fast friends, and we friends for over 20 years. And that 70 grand turned into a couple $1 million now, a little more now probably. Uh, anyways, so things can happen really great for you, and just don't listen to anybody that brings you down. Don't let anybody tell you. Listen, you always got to consider the source. Okay, consider the source. When somebody tells you, you can't do that, look at them. If they've done nothing, they don't know. They just know that they can't do it. But people that have made it, people that have made money, that have made deals, they know. They know. Those should be your inspiration. Those are your role models. And believe me, I had a grandpa that was just a terribly negative. Oh, no, that's terrible. Oh, no, that's never buy this, never buy that. He didn't know what he was talking about. But his experience was he lost his ass on a couple of deals and he was jaded for life. And he did make some big mistakes. Just looking at his history, I can see why he kind of felt some of that. But, anyways, that's it. Be sure, share, subscribe, like, and watch that other video I got. I think it's called A Week in the Life. It's coming. And, anyways, Flip Anything USA. Thanks for watching.